Now, if you're watching this video, there's a good chance that this guy here is a strong representation of how you're currently feeling. Now, why are you currently feeling this way? Well, it's because you're not landing in the primary inbox and you're most likely going to spam. Now, rather than just talk about that, I want to actually jump into the 3 solutions that you can implement to make sure that you increase your chance of never going to spam. Now, you can probably get to like 99% landing in primary inbox, but there's always going to be that 1% chance that you can go to spam, even if you're implementing all these measures. That's why it's a good practice to actually cycle through your domains after like say 6 to 12 months so that you can have like cooling off periods rather than just sending from the same domains forever and ever. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, like some potential solutions to actually fixing going to spam, is domain structure. So let's jump into that. So the way I like to talk about domain structure is you have your domain. So this is your domain. And then within that domain, you have 3 email accounts. Okay. And each email account under the domain, you can go up to 5. I like to keep it at 3. Under those 3 domains that you have, you can send 50 total volume safely. And then within that 50, you got to split it. You don't have to do a 50-50 split, but you got to divide that. So that's between like, what I like to do is 35 and 15. 35, 15, 35, 15. Now what that means here is 35 of the total 50 is for cold, and then 15 of that is for warm. Because essentially what actually happens here is this is like the cold is the evil and the warming up is the good, and it's just a battle between good and evil. And because you're going to be doing a lot of evil, aka sending a lot of cold messages, you're going to need to counteract that and balance that out with the warming process. So that's the process that I like to do, making sure that you have a solid structure in place. You don't want to have like 10 email accounts. Like you want to have 1 domain and then 3 email accounts under that. You can have up to 5, and you want to be sending 50 total from each. And under that 50 total, you obviously split that. Now with the cold, I will say that within the cold, you have 35. Usually I do like maybe 15 cold from that 35 and then 20 is for follow-ups. Because once you're consistently sending a lot of volume, most of your messages will be follow-ups, and the result, like calls being booked with clients, will actually come from the follow-up. Most people will ignore your first email, and then when you just bump it up or you like send over a case study in the 2nd or 3rd follow-up, that's usually where the result will come from. So that's why I prioritize like 20 for follow-ups and then 15 for new prospects being reached out to each and every day. So that's the main thing, is just having a solid structure in place. Now, the second solution that you can actually implement is weekly audits. Now I'm going to go through a few tools that you can actually use. So here's my like copy that I'm using for one of my campaigns, right? But what you want to do is, depending on how you word your cold email, it can trigger some of the spam filters when you're actually reaching out to these companies. So what you want to do is, once you write out your campaign and instantly you copy it and then come over to this tool called mailmeteor.com, and then you want to paste it into here. And you want it to say great. Anything less than great, you don't want. So you pretty much want to go through here, and if there's anything in red, you want to reword it. So I say on a result assured basis, right? But when you say words like performance, guarantee, if you mention like the money, $100,000, you can see that it's now poor. It's gone from poor. So what you want to do is, if you have any red or yellow, you want to upload it to here. And then if you're struggling to figure out other words to come up with for the words that you're trying to replace, you actually want to just look up synonyms for each and every word. And you want to get to the point until it says great. The only thing you can have in here that's okay is marketing. Now you can split test this. If there's certain words that you want to use and you don't want to use any other words, split test it. Split test the open rate between your open rate with sending with the words and then sending without the words, like using more neutral terms. So that's the first tool. And then once you actually have this tool here, what I like to do is I'll copy this. And then I use this tool here. It's called Mail Genius. What Mail Genius will do will test your deliverability. It will see if you're on any IP blacklist. It'll see if your DMARC records are set up correctly. It'll make sure that everything is running smoothly, and it'll give you a score out of 100. If anything's below 80, you probably don't want to be using that because there's a good chance that you'll go to spam a lot more. Anything above 80 is great, so that's what you really want to do. So come here, compose an email. I'll put this in here. You want to obviously put in what you would be sending to prospects. Copy this across, and then I'll copy this for, put in the name of my company, acquisition growth partner. Make sure that's all good. And now essentially what we want to do is we want to let that wait. See score. Okay, so my scores come up here, 95 out of 100. Now that's pretty good, but there's still room for improvement. We could improve that by another 5, but what it will show you here is like, okay, Spam Assassin, we're not in any databases for sending spam. My IP is good, it says here, no IP blacklist, no body blacklist. Like if you're sending Loom videos and your stuff, Loom's typically on body blacklist. Everything else is good. The only thing is that it's not that my DMARC records aren't set up, it's that they're not set up in the optimal way. So maybe I could go ahead and change that. And this is the new domain, so you get penalized for that. And I don't have an unsubscribe header as well, which could improve the score. So that's what you want to do. 95 is pretty good. You want to be over 80. Anything below 80, you probably want to buy new domains and make sure that you actually go ahead and warm them up. Now, another thing that you can do is come to MX Toolbox Lookup and just look up. It'll give you find problems and just see here, see if any errors come up. Okay, beautiful. So then it says here 0 errors, 10 warnings. Could probably go through, have a look, see if I can fix any of these. 523 pass. The main thing you're looking out for is errors. That's the main thing. So that's pretty much it. Like, use the tool, make sure that you have a good structure in place like this, so that you have at least 3 to 5 email accounts under the one domain, and that you're not sending any more than 50 per each account. And then you can split it down to cold and obviously cold follow-ups, and then having that structure in place. So simply all you need to do is have the structure in place, make sure you do those audits. So these audits that I showed you here, make sure you do them on a weekly basis, because if you're sending a decent amount of volume, say 50, 100, 200 per day, you want to make sure that you're constantly doing weekly checks. So the last thing you want to do is waste leads that could have become clients, but then because you land in spam, they never read the email. So weekly audits, domain structure, and also use this tool to make sure that there's no spam words that's going to send you to the spam as well. Now, if you're looking to currently add an extra 50 to 100K within the next 5 to 10 months without working with headache clients and without having to drop your pants on your price and without having to spend a single penny on ads, there's a link below this video. Go ahead and click on that link. You'll be able to go to my landing page, check out what we're about, some of our case studies. And if you feel like we could potentially help you, just go ahead and book a call from there. Thank you for watching. See you later.